Thank you so much for joining us, Rachid. You're the managing director at Cycledelik. It's quite an interesting way of spelling it. It's spelled cycle, Cycledelik. Tell us a little bit more about what you do at Cycledelik. Specifically, a post that I came across on LinkedIn is how important it is to maintain your fleet, to make sure that if there is a breakdown when you're on the road, you are delivering packages, that you've got a good company backing you. Make sure that 24/7, if there's a breakdown at 12 o'clock midnight, you've got someone on speed dial to come and fix it, because many of these businesses can't afford to have one or two vehicles, e-bikes out of their fleet.
Hi, thank you for having me in. So yes, with Cycledelik in a nutshell, we started back in 2007, and the aim was to offer roadside assistance for bicycles. But the main aim was to support cargo bikes. So when I started the business 15, 16 years ago, if you had a cargo bike, and they are quite a chunky piece of engineering, it's really difficult to get it through a bicycle shop door. Not only that, it is quite a technical bike to deal with. So on the back of that, Cycledelik, what we do is literally offer 24/7 roadside assistance, backup and support for all cyclists, as well as businesses who are doing last mile logistics and deliveries within a town. We understand that in major cities specifically, it's a 24/7 game. So doctors leave the hospital at 2 a.m. to get back home on their bike, and at 5 a.m. They're ready to go to sleep, and nobody's open at that time of day. And as you can imagine, fixing your bike as a consultant or a surgeon, having it reliable and ready to go back to the hospital, that's really important. So we do jobs at 4, 5, 6 a.m. in the morning. Sometimes we don't even see the customers because some of them have been with us for such a long time. We literally just turn up. We've got the keys to access what we need to access, service the bike, and it's all communicated via email. So it's seamless and easy, and you can just go to bed, rest, wake up, your bike has been serviced, you're ready to go for your next shift. And as for cargo bikes and delivery businesses, the same applies, and it's usually around the Valentine's Day, which is coming up soon, Christmas. It's a crazy period where literally everyone wants our support, but it's quite a tricky balance because you need to create a relationship with suppliers, do the onboarding, etc. So it's a bit laborious, but we try and keep it as simple and straightforward as possible. So yeah, in a nutshell, Cycledelik, backup support 24/7, roadside assistance, just like what the cars have in terms of the RAC, Royal Automobile Association, or the AA, for example. If you break down in your car, they turn up, they try and fix it on the spot. If not, they take it to the garage. Whereas what we specialize in is that, meaning that we turn up, we try and fix the bike on the spot, but also get you back on the road there and then. The success rate is 99%. So it is very rare when we have to pick up a cargo bike and take it back to the location to fix. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we do.
And time is money. So in this business of delivering, I mean, you need to make sure that last mile delivery really takes place at a very short time. In your experience, you've seen a lot of these breakdowns. What would you say most of these companies are doing? Are they perhaps not investing enough money towards maintaining their fleet properly, servicing it on a regular basis? And regularly, how often do you need to service your fleet?
Yeah, very good point, Mia. The trouble with business. So what I've done in order to solve this is on our website, on a B2B website, which is cycledelik.biz. There's a really handy free tool, so to allow accountants, CEOs, business owners, investors to play with this tool, and it's a budgeting and forecasting tool. So you know exactly how much it's going to cost you to keep your bike running, whether it's a full-time mechanic that you're employing in your workshop, or whether you're using a third-party service like ours, which I highly recommend you go and visit. So it's Cycledelik, business name .biz, B-I-Z. The main issues is I think it needs to be split in order to be fair. Some businesses, they start up as a trial and don't get their numbers right. And unfortunately, I find myself dealing with lots of call-outs and supporting them, which is great for my business. But I feel sorry for these guys, because if there was a little bit of planning prior to that, the cost would be palatable, if you see what I mean. The other type of businesses are the guys who plan. So they're quite meticulous and diligent. They plan, they budget, and they have plan Bs as well. So these are the guys we seem to get on with quite well and support. They're like family members. And I can name a few businesses, one of which is called EcoFleet, which is a brilliant business that does and takes care of last mile deliveries and locally within the city. So yeah, the main issues is the planning, forecasting, and also stock and supplies and the supply chain. So I get lots of emails and phone calls from business owners just trying to check what is it that is, or what brand or what sort of item it's worth investing in. And they say, we're thinking of item A. What do you think of that? That's great. Go for it. Item B, don't touch that. The reason being, I can go into details, but it's mainly stock. So we're as good supporting you as a business as the stock we have on board. And also, say, for example, you bought an item, you bought a fleet of 10 cargo bikes, but there are no wheels to fix them if they break. There are no shafts, to do that, or the electric system. So you've got to be really careful with that. So these are the two main pitfalls: financials, but also stock and availability.
Yeah. Any interesting story that you can share with us, just to amplify your point of how important it is to have a reliable service, on speed dial, to make sure that when there is a breakdown, you can get your car, your e-bike, back on the road as soon as possible. Anything that you specifically happened recently where that it just it emphasizes why it's so important to make sure that you got a good company backing you?
Yeah, I can pick a really good example, which is Eve, EAV .solutions. That's their website. They're beautifully designed cargo bikes and really well manufactured. I've got engineering and manufacturing background, so when I look at these works of art, I love it. And I met with the business, one of the business directors, and we went through the training and everything. And I saw their stock room, and they're fully stocked up. So I love the principle. So they build in something with backup. Still a sort of young business and a young company. So they still sort of making sure that all the loose ends are tied up. But a great business, needless to say. And it's fairly straightforward. Things wear out, things break down, no matter how much you service and repair. Sometimes there are accidents on the road. We can get to the location within 15 minutes. Some call-outs we deal within 15 minutes, others maximum 60 minutes. And your bike is back on the road. So as a fleet manager, you've got that peace of mind on the back of your mind. So my number is usually on hot dial in terms of we've got another clients, DHL. You've probably heard of the business DHL. So they use these cargo
Yes.
bikes. And as soon as they break down, we're almost there. So for me,
Yeah.
where I come from, my sort of main objective is making sure that the last mile delivery project is successful, and helping cities clean up the air and the polluted streets. This is the position I'm coming from. So if an entry is not reliable, I'll be mentioning it. I'll be saying it. I'll be advising against it. So people need to be aware of what they're buying. If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
And it needs to have that support, that backup, that customer service, that reliability, that hard work behind it. If none of this is existent, and stock, obviously, if none of this is existent, we can't help you. And you literally introducing a new product in the market is great, it's very exciting, but people have to be very careful and considerate, because you're hurting lots of lives in the process and lots of businesses. Just last year, to give you a quick statistic, in the UK, just over 30,000 businesses have folded, have closed, and there are variation of reasons as to why, and I can name one: just no customer service, unreliable products, and businesses that started up supplying these cargo bikes have gone bust, etc., etc. So nowadays, I think now more than ever, I'm getting more inquiries in terms of just general advice, and what the best products are to go for, etc. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, it does. I want to ask you the last question, and it's quite a bit of controversy around the batteries. I know you work in the field, and I'm sure you've got a viewpoint on this. E-bikes have been in the news, for a long while, actually, but specifically with regards to the batteries, there are reports of the batteries not being safe when on charge. Surely you do have a view on that. What do you think should be done? I mean, this is bad for the environment. It's not something that's sustainable for the industry in the long run, right?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. You've raised a really, really good point about safety, as well as other issues. But the main thing, or where I come from in terms of e-bikes, you can look at them as two types: non-branded, cheap and cheerful, and the branded ones, which are not as cheap, but the prices are going down. What's happening with these is people are buying them to do deliveries or to commute to work on them, not realizing that they literally got a time bomb ticking between their legs. And that happens. And it's really sad, because from where I live, there are 2 or 3 buildings which caught fire. Thankfully, 2 of them were okay, which was contained, but it was caused, one by a scooter and one by an electric bike with faulty battery. And what I keep saying to these people, they ring us up on a daily basis, and we've got a script. It's a fairly straightforward script. What bike have you got, or what e-bike have you got? They give us the details. We say, okay, we can come and help you, and that's going to cost X. Save that money, put it in the Bosch system or Shimano system or Yamaha system. It doesn't matter what type of bike brand you buy, that these brands have been tested rigorously. They're reliable. There's a support for them, and everything else in between. In terms of this, the issue is some people are on a budget, and we have to appreciate that. So there are alternatives of charging e-bikes. For example, e-biketricity. E-biketricity is just a business that sort of charges or support charging e-bikes outside on the street. And it's a beautiful system. It's still in its infancy, and what it does basically, as a user, it's all remote controlled. You approach the docking station, it opens up. It's ready for you as a user. You dock your e-bike in, and you plug it in to charge. As simple as that. And the charge can be a fast charger or a standard charger. What's beautiful about this is that it's outside on the street. So if there are any incidents, it can be contained. That's linked to a fire station, to the police station. It's got CCTV cameras, monitoring station, etc. So that's one solution for these type of individuals who are, on a budget, and that's the only thing they can afford. The good news is that the battery technology is improving as we speak, and it's getting much better. It's the old stock that's still in the market that we have to be very careful with. So it's all about talking, informing people, and a good 5% of my day, my personal time, is advising these guys who are calling us up and trying to fix these very dangerous e-bikes. So I'm happy to do it for free. So